Hey guys, it's Merrick, and I've got another gameplay commentary for you here today. This one is yet again on Planetside 2, but we are on VS with the Orion. The Orion is the VS starter LMG, but it's also very good in CQC and a solid all-around choice. It's got a mostly vertical recoil pattern, which is both a blessing and a curse, because while it's mostly vertical, so you'd think it would be very predictable, it means that one burst it might decide to kick up and left, and then the next burst it might kick up and right, and then the third it just kicks straight up. So you have to be able to adjust on the fly rather than kind of rely on a somewhat set variation, whereas with the MSWR or like the Anchor or something else, you know it's going to go up right, it's just a matter of how far right it's going to go. They fill very different roles, but this is very similar to what you might have to deal with the Carve, that has a very vertical recoil pattern, but can decide to just go left once and right the next. The rest of my loadout is relatively standard. I've realized recently that I enjoy Survivalist quite a lot because of the amount of times that it saves me from using extra medkits. However, other viable slots, since I don't use them very often, would be Sensor Shield, Athlete, Battle Hardened. It's just that with the amount of times I wind up turning off my brain and shift Wing, the extra speed to potentially get around a corner and the health regen seem to play to my playstyle pretty well. With that out of the way, let's jump into the gameplay though. We start the session off at Haid Skydock, where I leave spawn, try to engage with somebody I see, get flanked from the side, manage to get that trade, and immediately have to back up. The population is not in our favor, and they have all 3 points, so I try to get a different position to try to get an angle. I wind up seeing a bunch of people on top of that rock, and after missing a ton of bullets, I do manage to eventually trade myself 1 for 1. Leaving spawn again, I try to take a mid-range fight, but I don't make the shot, so I back off till I can heal. I try to engage in someone on the rock, do get the kill, but as I peek this guy, I take a bunch of bullets in a single packet and just die. I poke my head out of spawn again, and get shot by 3 people at once and decide maybe it's time to go somewhere else. Couldn't exactly get a whole lot done in a 78-22 spawn-like situation. So I migrate over to Genesis Terraforming, which looks a little bit better at 60-40. I see pretty much nothing as I push up the stairs, so I try to make it into the building. I get hit at an off angle. As I go to heal, I see some people around the other corner on the minimap, so I try to avoid those. I push in at an odd time, fuck myself over, and then by the time I respawn, everything is completely gone. Having learned nothing from the previous spawn point, and having no other fights to go to, I spawn on the nearest Sunder and try to keep up what I can. Seems like a lot of the pop has already filtered out, thinking that the fight is completely over, and I pick up a few stragglers here and there as I secure our Sunder before I eventually do push back up to the compound.
Failure is not the path of enlightenment.
After waiting for this guy to get murdered by a teammate, I get ambushed by his infill, and then, as I said, push back over to the compound. However, on that entire run across, I don't see anything, so as I run up these stairs, I immediately check Nest, thinking it's clear. I look completely past this guy, who was respectful enough to wait for me to look back at him before we started shooting each other. I'm able to get that trade with somebody else coming up with some more damage, and then I back up to point C to try to resecure it, and I do some running around shenanigans as I fight outnumbered. I managed to pick up this medic as he comes in the doorway, but I should have known he was going to be there because he was on the minimap a few moments earlier. But seeing a few people upstairs, I reload before I push up, catch this guy off guard, do see the one on the staircase to be prepared for him, and then looking at the minimap, I know there should be a few more people coming up the bottom stairs. However, I hear shots upstairs, so I try to go back up and save the other guy I was with. Seems like that medic got rezzed. As I go downstairs to route around and come up the other staircase to try to get a different angle, I see an infiltrator that I'm able to pick off, and then completely out of ammo, I back outside to get a full reload. I run around this corner expecting that dot to have been upstairs, but it's this medic yet again, which means these other guys should also be rezzed, and I expect them as I push up. I see what looks like a dot coming up behind me on the staircase, so I clear this other staircase, clear the top stairs, and immediately go to check that, but the guy was actually upstairs and peeked me as soon as I walked past his doorway. Heading back down the side stairs to keep mobile, there's a different medic that picks up this other guy. I'm able to finish up the medic, but I don't have enough bullets to get the second guy, so I have to commissioner him, and as I'm trying to medstick, somebody walks in the door and I have to pull my knife. I know there was more people upstairs, so I try to head for the door because there's people on both sides. I don't make it, and I finally get taken out. There were no spawns left there, so I'm forced to move to Ixatab. I'm able to find something through the doorway as I'm leaving the Sunder. I throw a rocket at the mosquito, but I don't have a decimator, so it doesn't die, and then I just push straight up and into the building, where I'm able to get a flank on some people that were doing their own push. I go to investigate some bullets coming through the side door, just in time for an infiltrator to drop directly into my crosshair. He seemed to have been just as surprised as I was, and I'm able to clean him up before I get bolted. I go to reload just as another push happens, so I start shuffling around corners just to make it harder to hit me, and try to get the initiative on one of the peaks. I'm able to catch a guy on the tight angle, and as I back off, this push continues with somebody jumping up to shoot over the top of the ledge. I'm able to get him from an angle where he can't really counterplay, and I'm just trying to rotate between different angles considering the minimap looks like a fucking Christmas tree. I clear the main gate and I go to push this dude on the side doorway, only for the guy at the main gate to finally push, and as I engage him, the side door peeks me, and I just get shit out of luck and die. We wind up getting completely wiped there, and I have to head off to check Intel Hub. And as soon as I leave the spawn, I begin crossing the street, only to get shot by a bunch of angry guys on the corner. I'm able to turn on one, not realizing that there were multiple, and then I'm just in the middle of the street, absolutely nowhere in position as I get shot down by a bunch of people. I run back, do manage to make it into the building, stop to respond to a message, and then have to clean somebody up in my building before I can actually get up to anywhere near the point. As I'm pushing up though, there's a massive blue push that I can see on the minimap. I try to position myself to take out a few people from the side, but turns out I'm actually shit at this game, so they all get past me for free. I drop a preemptive nade to try to cut some of them off, and that also fails. I gas my magazine and immediately have to back off because I'm about to get overrun. I get into a better fallback position, take out one person as he turns the corner, wait for more to try to bleed them out, but there's a bolter that just completely outskills me because stealth, so I have to run back. I get on a good flank, manage to take out a few people from the side, but yet again, am shit at this game, waste a bunch of bullets hitting people that don't die, and I could have had a much better return here and actually got some damage done, but I wind up just being a minor inconvenience. Reacting to us on the minimap, some of them come down skinny and out the doorway there. I kill one and I wait for the second one to push, but a third one had come around the outside and shot me under the staircase that I wasn't prepared for. I run it back, and after trying to get some fights with some people over these ledges, nobody peeks me, so I go to push only for an infiltrator to, at the perfect time, peek me with a scout rifle, and I don't win that trade at that point. I head off to Ixatab and try to push the point, only to see an infiltrator run across, but as soon as I run past the barrier, he's not there, so I know he's got to be lurking around here somewhere. So I push up and immediately flick around, hoping to catch him off guard, and it works exactly as planned. I explain to him exactly how I feel about such gameplay strategies, and then I push on to point. I flip the point, run around for a minute or so, and then immediately am out of position and just jumping down as somebody walks in the doorway, and I just fucking miss and lose the trade. Some other people showed up though, and we do hold the point. I run it back, and as I'm waiting for some people to roll out of spawn, because the population is growing here, I keep quick peeking this corner to try to get the initiative and let them shoot me without actually being able to kill me. I do manage to bait someone to try to fight me, but I don't kill him on the cross. So I set up for a nade to push him out of cover, but he peeks a little earlier, but I'm still able to get that pickoff. We're still overpopped, but nobody's pushed out yet. An infiltrator appears on point, and I take him out. I keep checking the front push to see if I can't bleed anybody out. I'm able to pick up this guy yet again, and as a few more seem to materialize at the front, I finally push up a little bit, getting tired of waiting, but I get overexcited, push way too far, and just give myself no way to play and die for free. I picked the worst time to do this because no sooner do I get back than this big push that had been materializing in there finally pushes out and just completely runs over the point. And while I got a few trades there, I might have gotten a few more if I was actually in a good spot. I moved back to Genesis terraforming just in time for a massive red wave to come flying towards our only point that we have. I hold this corner, try to pick off as much as I can, but I don't get too good of a trade. However, we do hold this corner, so I am able to run back and try again. Despite them having more people here, it seems like they're reluctant to take the super wide swing, so I take a very close angle on here to make sure that I can actually have a safe position, and I just try to take one fight at a time as best as I can. Unfortunately, an ally stepped in front of me as I go to take that fight, and I accidentally murder him, live free in the NC, but from there I'm able to push up and clear out this doorway. I thought the doorway was going to be much clearer, so I try to finish off what I think is the last guy with my commissioner, only to see like 6 more dudes in there. Somehow they let me dance away, and I get back to safety, where I'm able to reload, recompose myself, and then push back into the building and get into a melee in the second floor. I finish off the auto turret, and I retreat back downstairs to try to reload. I see that the fight's still going on, so I just hang out in the stairway. As soon as I do push back downstairs, though, it looks like I cleared it out. However, as soon as I do that, I go back upstairs just to get some roaming, and immediately everybody's getting rezzed, so I try to push aggressively and make sure we can keep this secure. And as suddenly as this torrential downpour of fights and dudes has appeared, it seems to have dissipated. So I'm going to begin bringing the session to a close. We currently have 51 kills in 18 minutes, but the session concludes with 55 kills in 21 minutes. I think a lot of my problems this session were playing too aggressively, playing too far forward, not maintaining positions that allowed me the ability to put cover between me and emerging threats, and then a little bit of unluck as I cleared something, would go to something else, and then get caught out by somebody peeking from where I cleared, and then myself not committing to one of the two choices and just trying to deal with everything, leaving myself in a terrible spot that I didn't need to do. It's possible during those plays that maybe even if I did commit to one side or the other, that it wouldn't have been enough and I still would have died, but upon review of the play, I still think it would have been better than the situations where I just floundered and tried to respond to both, leaving myself in the middle of no man's land. And finally, I think I tend to do it a little bit better when I'm able to thread the needle between aggression and being in a good position, and then I stay somewhere in the middle ranges using my better accuracy to kind of pick people off from a safe range while still putting on a lot of pressure. I didn't really do that a whole lot here. But, as always, let me know what you do like, let me know what you don't like, let me know what you think, so I can improve my videos moving forwards. Thank you guys for the continued support, and I'll see you guys next time.